In this video, I'm going to be walking you through how to pick the UC personal insight questions that are right for you. There will also be some bonus tips at the end of this video for writing your personal insight questions overall that you will definitely want to stick around for. So let's get started. Number 1. Describe an example of your leadership experience in which you have positively influenced others, helped resolve disputes, or contributed to group efforts over time. This question is not just asking you to talk about your different leadership positions in clubs. UC personal insight questions are meant to see how you are as a person, as a whole. So personal responses are perfectly okay, and they will most likely stand out to admissions officers because they're unique to you. This prompt might be good for you if you have younger siblings that you help take care of, a job where you hold a position that requires leadership, you helped lead big group projects, you've been president or vice president of a club, or you've done volunteer work where you helped others. I'm sure there are many more experiences that would fit into this category, but I just named a few examples to get you thinking about whether this prompt would be good for you. Number 2, every person has a creative side, and it can be expressed in many ways. Problem solving, original and creative thinking, and artistically, to name a few. Describe how you express your creative side. This prompt is great for someone that's going into a major where you really have to think creatively and be innovative and really stand out. So you might be thinking that this prompt is mainly for theater majors or art majors or things like that, people that express themselves artistically and creatively. But I totally disagree with that because this can really work for any major. For example, engineering is a very competitive major among the UC schools, so in order to get in there, you really have to show that you stand out among all of the other applicants. So even if your creative expression isn't about engineering, just showing that you have a creative side in addition to the mathematical and logical reasoning that's required for engineers will really help you stand out and show that you can think outside of the box and creatively, which is super great for any major, not just engineering. Number 3, what would you say is your greatest talent or skill? How have you developed and demonstrated that talent over time? This is for the people who have hobbies outside of school. And if you're applying to UC, then this should definitely describe you. However, this isn't just about hobbies, this is about passions. And I'm going to be real honest here, the admissions officers have heard the same story over and over again of, I've done piano since I was 5 years old and I've done it ever since and just been improving because I keep taking classes. So you'll definitely want to try to change it up a bit to tell a different story. My best friend, for example, has done piano since she was 5, but over time she expanded her horizons to include guitar, bass, electric bass, ukulele, the water glasses, and the melodica. That is just amazing, honestly, and it shows how her musical skills have developed over time. But if, say, you do piano and you want to talk about how you have done piano all your life, that is great, but try to include as much variety as possible in the essay by talking about the different competitions you've competed in or places you've gotten the opportunity to perform in, or other opportunities that playing piano has presented you, like playing piano for the school's choir, things like that that will just make your essay stand out. Number 4, describe how you have taken advantage of a significant educational opportunity or worked to overcome an educational barrier you have faced. Opportunities could include participation in honors clubs, organizations, or programs, or internship opportunities, things like that. My best friend that I just mentioned actually got accepted into a program at Harvard where she went there for 2 weeks, stayed in the dorms, and took classes there. So that was a really cool educational opportunity for her that benefited her. So if you have something similar that you have done that you believe has benefited you, you might want to talk about it because My friend really stood out for doing that program. As for educational barriers, I think this one would be pretty self-explanatory, but if you have a mental disorder or disability or disease or anything like that that you've had to work with and try to overcome, then this essay would be a great place to talk about that. Number 5. Describe the most significant challenge you have faced and the steps you have taken to overcome this challenge. How has this challenge affected your academic achievement? This one is for the people who have gone through or are currently going through a struggle. If this was a past challenge, the admissions officers want to know how you coped with this challenge and what steps you took to overcome it. This can be one specific event, or it can be something that's been a struggle for you your whole life. This prompt is different for every person, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's very important to talk about the coping and overcoming aspect because, to be real with you, UC admissions officers aren't looking at your essays to hear a sob story. So even if the challenge is still affecting you today, try your best to talk about how you are coping with the situation. Number 6, think about an academic subject that inspires you. Describe how you have furthered this interest inside and or outside of the classroom. This prompt is for those of you that are really passionate about a specific academic subject. Or even if you aren't super passionate about one specific thing yet, that's okay. You maybe even can write about an academic subject that's interested you recently, and if you're planning to major or minor in that field. This question asks how you've furthered your interest inside and or outside the classroom. Inside the classroom could mean taking more classes in the subject, maybe even honors or AP classes, doing class projects that relate to the subject, and maybe even talking to teachers about a major path you could take to further study this subject. As for outside the classroom, it could be volunteering, internships, clubs, organizations, things like that that aren't a part of school curriculum, but you decided to do anyway because you were interested in the topic. Number 7. What have you done to make your school or community a better place? Well, this one is pretty self-explanatory in my opinion, but it's essentially asking how you've contributed to your school or community, and that's usually by means of volunteering. However, it doesn't just have to be about volunteering. My best friend that I keep bringing up because he's just super awesome actually contributed to starting the environmental club at my high school. Even though this wasn't a specific act of volunteering, I see it as a huge contribution to our school and to our planet, which is great. So if you have something similar that you could write about, even if it's not specifically volunteering, I totally recommend you write about it. Number 8. Beyond what has already been shared in your application, what do you believe makes you stand out as a strong candidate for admissions to the University of California? This prompt is basically an open prompt for if you want to talk about something in your essays, but you didn't know exactly how to fit it into the different personal insight questions. But this prompt is not for someone that just wants to be lazy and not think of what to write for the other prompts, so they just write this one. Just don't do that. It is perfectly fine to use this prompt, and that's why it's here. But the admissions officers will definitely be able to tell if you're just being lazy and you don't want to write about something else. So just do yourself a favor and don't do that. As promised at the beginning of this video, here are some bonus tips for your personal insight questions. Unless you know for a fact that one or more of the prompts won't work for you, I encourage you to try all of them out. I know when I was doing my personal insight questions that I expected to do certain questions right off the bat, but after I tried writing for all the prompts, I found that some worked out better than others. Have a variety of topic in your essays. Even though some of the prompts may sound like they could be related, try to include different topics on your essays because these are what admissions officers are going to look at to understand who you are. So try to show multiple sides of you. Don't just repeat your qualifications for getting into a UC. The admissions officers have already seen your SATs, all of the classes you've taken, the sports you've done, everything. So if you want to talk about those, try to expand on the why. Why you chose to do that sport and continue with it, or why you chose your major based on the class you took in high school that you really loved. Things that can't be seen by just looking at the rest of your application. Don't waste the admissions officer's time by repeating yourself a lot or trying to make your essays sound like you're super smart by filling them with super smart words. The essays aren't for determining whether you're smart enough. The rest of the application will handle that part. So show what makes you unique and don't worry so much about the essay structure. And lastly, get help from friends, teachers, your parents, anyone who is willing and that you trust. This doesn't mean having them help you write the essays. Try writing the essays yourself to the best of your abilities, and then ask for advice on revisions and things like that. Even if you think you've got it and that you don't need help, having a fresh set of eyes to see your essays will help you out more than you might think. And that was how to pick the UC Personal Insight questions that are right for you. If you like this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and comment down below what you'd like to see from me next or any questions you have regarding this video. Also, make sure you subscribe for more of this kind of content. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!